Good morning, my dear students. I hope you all are keeping safe and healthy and you're taking all the precautions during this pandemic. My name is Abha and I'm here today to share a story with all of you. The name of the story is The Golden Plate. So once upon a time, in a small village lived two men, Mukesh and Sundar. And both of them sold pots, pans, trinkets and other sorts of utensils. But they had one problem. How were they supposed to settle in the same town and do business and not come into each other's way? So then, one day while they were sailing in a boat, they were discussing the same problem. The helmsman heard them and he said, "Why don't you divide the town into two halves? And then you can trade in each half. And if you like, after a while, you can switch." Well, both Mukesh and Sundar were really happy with this idea and they agreed. Soon they purchased loads and loads of pots, pans, trinkets and other sorts of utensils. And from the next day, they set off to sell them. Mukesh had all the pots and pans with him and he was walking with them throughout the village. He called out to people, "Pots and pans, pots and pans." A little girl named Reena heard him. She really wanted a new bracelet. She knew that these people also sell trinkets. Then she rushed to her grandma and she said, "Granny, I really want a new bracelet. Please buy me one." Now Reena and her granny were not that rich. They were going through a tough time. So her grandmother said, "But Reena, I don't have the money to buy you a new bracelet. But I do have a few utensils that we can exchange." Reena was happy with that thought. She said, "Okay, Granny, let's try at least." Soon Mukesh came to their doorstep. Reena went up to him and stopped him. She said, "Can I buy a bracelet, please? Do you have one?" The moment Mukesh saw Reena, he judged her on her clothing. She was wearing a torn skirt and a very old top. He said, "Can you afford to buy a bracelet?" "Well, I don't think so." Reena kept quiet and she asked her grandmother to come out. Her granny told Mukesh that they can exchange an old plate for a bracelet and he can come inside and have a look. Mukesh went inside. He looked at the plate. It was black and dirty. But still, he picked it up and scratched it a little. The moment he scratched it, it started shining. It was a plate of gold and it was worth thousands of money. Mukesh's eyes sparkled and he was a very, very greedy man. He thought, "Well, what I can do is tell them that this plate is not worth exchanging a bracelet and leave it here. And after a few days, I can come back and take it for free." So then, Mukesh rejected to take the plate and give a bracelet in exchange. He said, "Well, this plate is not at all worthy to exchange a bracelet. Please keep it with you. I have wasted my time here." And then he walked out of their hut. Reena was very, very upset and heartbroken. The next day, Chandan was passing by the same village and he noticed this Reena sitting outside with a very, very sad face. He went up to her and asked her, "What happened? Why are you so upset? Did someone say something to you?" Reena told him everything. And then he told Reena, "Do you mind if I come inside and check on the plate?" Well, he was a very, very kind and honest man. When he went inside, he inspected the plate because he did not want to actually break the little girl's heart. Even if the plate was not worth it, he would give her a bracelet. But when he checked the plate, he discovered that it was made of pure gold and it was very, very expensive. He told his granny, "Ma'am, this plate is worth thousands of money. Even if I exchange all my utensils in exchange of this plate, still I have to give you more." Reena's granny was delighted. And then what he did was that he gave all his pots and pans and all the other utensils he was carrying, the trinkets, the bracelets, to Reena and her granny, and he took the plate with him. Then he took a boat and started sailing across the river. Later in the evening, Mukesh visited the same house and he asked Granny if they still had the plate. Well, Reena smiled and said, "We don't need anything from you now. We have already exchanged our plates for these utensils." No sooner Mukesh had realized that Chader had visited them and given them all the utensils in exchange for the golden plate. And then he regretted being greedy. He even tried to chase Chader, but it was very, very late because he had sailed on the boat across the river and reached the marketplace to sell it off. Well, with this story, with this we come to the end of the story where Mukesh, just because of his greed, had regretted it, and Chader, who was a very, very kind and humble person, an honest person, not only he benefited the family of Granny and Reena, but he also earned a lot of money himself. My dear students, with this story we understand that at times in life we do become greedy, but that greed will not take us anywhere. It will only harm us and the people around us. Always try to be a little more humble, a little more kind, and that will only make your life peaceful and joyous. Thank you so much.